So, Jacobi, thank you for joining us again this time. We'll be talking about how you take care of your own mental health and well-being, what strategies and skills you use, what inspires you to do so.
As a mental health professional, like we talked about previously, we have this ability to hold ourselves accountable. We have this ability to, if we're working on these interventions with our patients, let me try them. If my patient is coming to me, let me go see a therapist. We have this way of just trying what we are asking someone else to try. So as we have a lot of different things pop up with us because we're working with our patients and our clients, we have to deal with ours in the process. And so that's how I start. That's one of the biggest things, is having the awareness. You know what I'm saying? There comes a point when you have to deal with and you have to deal with your traumas and your hurt and all of it, even transitioning here, like we talked about previously, and feeling unheard or unseen in college or just in school or just with people. And that didn't just start there. You know what I'm saying?
That's so good. That's so good, because it may be something that was present before that's now being triggered and brought to the surface again.
Right. And as a mental health professional, you're able to sit with that feeling, and you're able to realize, okay, that wasn't just that. That stemmed from somewhere. Like, this reaction isn't proportionate to this, like, what's going on? Why am I feeling all of this? And so you sit with that, and so that's one of the biggest things for me that I do in my healing journey, in my rediscovering of Jacobi over and over again. So it's just forming this awareness, and being okay with things that do come up. And when I do start to feel a cringe, or I do start to feel like legit, like hypervigilant or anxious, like knowing what these emotions are, you know what I'm saying? Knowing what these feelings are and being okay with going back to where it started. And that's where all this trauma and all this stuff comes up for you. And we don't run from it. We're not teaching our patients to run from it, So I now have to do some of these skills, right? I now have to, let's sit with this feeling. Is this right? Is it true? Is it accurate? Like, we're not dismissing how I feel, right? But how I'm interpreting it and how it's impacting me right now. Is that right? Is that true? Is that accurate? Let's go back to this memory. How many other ways can we look at this? How many different scenarios can we get out of this? Why only sit with this one, being unheard or unseen, right? And that's, again, like at the next level. So it's always, you do have to go back to the memory, sit with it, feel all the feelings, like not go get any marijuana and smoke it away, not go get any alcohol and drink it away, and as you work with your patients, right, one of the biggest things that's helped me, because I'm working with my patients and I'm being gracious to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm accounting for relapse, and not relapse like from a substance abuse perspective, but just relapse in a way of going back to your defense mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? As you're actively trying to get out of them, right? So I have to be gracious with myself, and so I have to remember that. Like, I have to tell myself that over and over, because you're not going to beat down on your patient. You're not going to judge your patient. You're going to encourage them and let them know, no, baby, we account for you to revert. That's a part of the process. He wasn't going to get this overnight. Like, this was your coping for how many years? I didn't expect you to, not revert to cursing or shouting or fight or flighting or, like whatever. I had to be honest. There's a level of honesty when you're wanting to heal and you're wanting to just be a better version of you, and that's where a lot of the substance abuse for me ties in. I used to be a weed baby, I loved it. And there was always this positive, healthy association, and I had the advantage of growing up in the Caribbean, and as I'm working with other people, I had to realize it myself. Okay, it's no longer coping. And we're not saying however you justify it is right or wrong, right? We're just acknowledging, like, okay, this is no longer benefiting me. I'm now way more agitated. I'm missing appointments. All the things that are not good, and I want to heal. I want to go through this process and as I go through it, like I said, like yoga just helps me tremendously, but I'm able now, it's like a circle, it's like a cycle. I'm able to help my client, they're able to help me, they give me this awareness, this curiosity to want to dig deeper as I'm encouraging them. I'm slick encouraging myself, like, if you're honest in your treatment, if you're honest in your work, if you're honest with sitting with your feelings and now feeling ready to deal with them. If you're honest in your own trauma and you realize I'm really able to help you, you're able to help me. It's like this reciprocal, they don't know it, but I'm fully aware. So yoga has helped me a lot. My clients, my patients have helped me a lot, You realize now that I was coping with weed, right? I was, as an example. And then you were realizing this doesn't serve me in the way I thought it was initially, and you realize your own mental illness, I'm very anxious. My brain just keeps going, I can effectively multitask, I need to sit on this side of a building because I need to see what's all going on. And that's overstimulating. I go into a mall and I'm immediately like, oh, what the heck is going on? It's too much. It's the scents, the lights, the people, everything. And I'm flustered and I'm overwhelmed, and I need to go get my smoke, I need to find the nearest bar, whatever it is, and so I had to sit with that. Right. And I came to the realization, I don't like that. I want to I don't want to be this way, So there's always this big picture notion of who and what you want to be, So it's like, I don't want to be highly anxious. I don't want to be like super paranoid. I don't want to be, like if I think of a scenario, I'm thinking the worst, just naturally how people are. I don't want to look at another female and compete, like it just natural things that just really affects your way of living, and so how do I quiet all these thoughts? How do I have a better understanding of some of these behaviors? How do I just get calm? And so yoga gave me that ability, because with weed, I do get calm. I did get calm, but then you keep using it and using it, and now you're agitated, and I'm no longer calm. And I'm now back to the place where I thought I was trying to get from, and you don't have that awareness because you're doing it to numb and you're doing, all these things. So that's where yoga came in. And it was like, no, I want to get calm in a better way, in a more long, consistent way. And that's where it was, you're taught to breathe, you're taught to connect with you. You're taught to, let's quiet some of these thoughts, whether true or not, but it's just too much going on. We're trying to be so overstimulated, this hyperactive nervous system, and that's not natural, like us as women with our cycles, like that's a heart attack every month. Like, so all of this became just, you just start to get this awareness and you're like, okay, I get that I'm overstimulated. I get that, a bit dysfunctional. My nervous system is out of whack and I'm coping with it the best way I know how, and I want to learn a better way. And yoga came in and just taught me to quiet. It taught me to get centered. It taught me to just restart, and there's no judgment. You know what I'm saying? There is no harshness, like you're gonna get it there, you're gonna get there. And then even with the movements, I'm a hyperactive person. And so you're doing the movements and it's just releasing. You're still getting energy out. You're still in activity. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a good way to tap into you. And the way the brain works, if you're telling yourself negative stuff or just whatever it is, with yoga, you were kind of taught to, we understand you're telling yourself stuff, right? But let's tell yourself positive stuff now, And so I had this ability, these 20 minutes of the day, to just affirm myself, laud myself, compliment myself, praise myself, and really speak into what it is I want. It seemed very simple, but, and in that I'm affirming, like, I don't need X, Y, and Z. I cope better. I cope, I am affirming and so I develop in time and I create an understanding of, I'm releasing a lot of this hyperactivity, a lot of this anxious energy when I'm moving, when I'm doing my stretching, when I'm exercising, if you will. And then I'm learning to cultivate or just change a lot of that anxious energy into something more calming, like the energy is there, but how can we change it into, and then with the meditation and the affirming, I'm learning and I'm cultivating just a new narrative. You know what I'm saying? I'm creating a new just narrative, and I'm not attached to the hurtful, traumatic narrative that I had. Like, and so yoga just helped me in general. And so when I'm with the patients, and they're there 3.5, 4 hours, you know what I'm saying? So they're able to go through, this ain't working, Miss Jacobi. I don't like this. You just, like, because I'm with them for 4 hours, right? But because they're on site for 4 hours, they're honestly able to go through so many different processes. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not just an hour. They're able to sit with, they're able to take a break. They're able to try to breathe in for 3 minutes at a time. They're able to get frustrated and I come back in 30 minutes or an hour. You know what I'm saying? It's so much, it could seem schizophrenic, because it's so much movements, but they're growing really in that moment, because they're there. They can't leave. So they got to sit with the anger. They got to sit with, you know what I'm saying? And so that taught me a lot too. Like, we can't run. They got to sit right there. They can't go and escape and, go do whatever they do. And so I had to practice that in terms of being still, like physically being still.
One of the things that you said earlier is that affirmations may sound simple, but a practice of healthy, consistent affirmations is not easy to maintain. Because we often get in the habit of speaking negatively to ourselves, even in our minds, about ourselves, comparing ourselves to others where we are on our journey. Often through the day, so much so that we don't necessarily keep account for it. And so doing the opposite takes time, practice, dedication to really see a result. And so what you're talking about, doing this for 20 minutes each day, is a big deal. It may seem simple, but it can really make a world of a difference.
We understand that we're naturally overstimulated. As professionals, we understand that there is a lot of distraction and there is a lot of noise. You get up and now there's social media, there's TV, there's, in certain environments, there's the train there, like there's a lot. And like we understand that. So you do go in with grace. After 3 seconds of trying to focus, your brain gonna go. Like, so it is a buildup. Yes, it's not an overnight thing. It's not easy when we've been trained to be negative to ourselves. That's traumatic. You grew up in an environment where nothing pleasing can come out of your guardian's mouth towards you. You don't know why and I'm not saying that's everyone, but that's a form of trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like, grew up not being complimented, grew up feeling wrong for the skin that you're in, the hair texture that you have, the bone structure, like shit that you can't control. But you grew up feeling shameful and you don't realize that it's traumatic, And so I do a lot of mirror work, like in my yoga workshops, I do a lot of mirror work. And it's very traumatic in terms of we're not used to looking in the mirror and saying nice things. You know what I'm saying? We're not used to that, but I have to shock you. I get it. It's hard. It was hard for me, but just as the same, you have all these childhood to college to late adulthood of negative banter, never being good enough, it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. You're looking yourself in the mirror and you're saying how beautiful you are and nothing about you believes it, so you're gonna not go do it for 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be okay with that. You have to understand this is 36 years of rewiring. This is 36 years of never feeling good enough, never feeling like I deserve, never feeling whatever, and so you do have to account for time, where you can change your brain narrative. And now you are looking every time you see a mirror, you're like, girl, you look good, and you believe it now, because you started with 30 seconds, then a minute, then, it's gonna increase. You just have to believe that you deserve it. And because I deserve it, I'm gonna carve out time to honor it, to try it. You know what I'm saying? You have to get that big picture. We're not here created to beat each other down. We're not here to beat ourselves down. So I'm what you do have to account for time, and being gracious, but also committing to it. Your mental health is important. You have to commit to it. You've tried these different things and they didn't work. So keep trying until you find something that does work.
If I'm interested in working with a social worker for a treatment or a therapy, where can I find that person?
So the biggest thing I find beneficial, right? Right now, and I don't know if it's post-COVID but I'm finding a lot of great things, hearing a lot of great things with the online counseling services, like BetterHelp or Headspace. There is a lot of, and I love in person, I love face-to-face, but I like the online avenue, especially for us Caribbean Americans or African Americans, where we're not trained really, or we're not conditioned to seek out help, from a professional mental health help. And so the online avenue makes it way more comfortable, way more, not as daunting. But I would say start there. Google. I have the advantage, when you're a professional, you're able to reach out to someone and be like, are you accepting any clients? I have someone that you can see, but not everyone has that ability, that privilege, to know someone. So I would say, if we do have access to internet, Headspace or BetterHelp, for people that are professionals, they are employed, there's a lot of organizations, a lot of employers that are contracting with Concern or just these different counseling services. So I would say even go there, reach out to your HR department, see what services they offer. But yeah. So big Google search.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. It resonates with me that you're absolutely right. Doing something online can be so much more discreet. You don't have to pick up yourself and go to an office and wonder about who's seeing you.
Yeah.
And so if you have access to that and if you can afford it, that can be really helpful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful having you, Jacobi. I loved hearing your story, your personal journey of transformation and healing, and about the wonderful work that you're doing with your clients in many different areas, both in medical and mental health.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Hey family, if you're finding value in our content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your support helps us reach more Caribbean immigrants who need guidance, encouragement, and a safe space to talk about mental health. Let's build this community together because our well-being matters. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. One love.